Aside from what I just said, ever since Friday, I have not seen my cat. I've called to her several times. Nothing. She usually comes when I call her, even though she's a cat. Especially when she knows there's food involved. And typically, in the last couple months or so, she'll come through the upstairs window to see me. And in the last 3 days since Friday, that hasn't happened. The myredbook.com Republican ex-mafia member felons, suborners of perjury, solicitors of perjury, perjurers, rapists, solicitors of rape, stalkers, solicitors of stalking, slander, solicitors of slander, libel writers, solicitors of libel writing, solicitors of cyber stalking, solicitors of black hat hacking, etc., etc. Greg and Glenn Chappell, and again we know those aren't their real names, are using my cat to manipulate me and to attempt to stop me from telling the truth about everything. They, and I'm sure many others, think that, I'm a bitch and that I'm the one at fault, even though I have a RAPE video, or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, and even though I have them recorded admitting to RAPING me, even though I have it recorded that myredbook.com Republican ex-mafia member, felon, etc., etc., Greg Chappell, even though I have him recorded saying that my dad had me RAPED 10 million times, that my dad himself RAPED me 10 million times, that I enjoy being RAPED, and making that fake phone call to my dad, telling my dad, in this fake phone call that he should have me RAPED 10 million more times. And I've got them both admitting to crazy making me and gaslighting me, but I'm the bitch and I'm the problem? I don't think so. And I'm supposed to be nice in order to see my cat again, and those two don't give a RATS ASS about my cat. Especially ex-mafia member, myredbook.com Republican felon, etc., etc., Greg Chappell. Doesn't care about her one iota. Just ignores her all the time, has always ignored her. And I have, up until the last couple of months, I was the one paying for the cat litter. I was the one paying for the cat food. I bought her toys. I was the one spending most of the time with her. And then because things got really bad in the last few months, I had no choice but to close the door that separates the lower half of the house from the second story. I had to close that door because my safety is paramount. And these two ex-mafia members, MyRedBook.com, Republican felons, etc., have proven that if that door is open and if my door isn't locked, that they will RAPE me I had no choice. I had to close off the lower part of the house from the second story. They didn't leave me any choice. And like I said before, MyRedBook.com, Republican felon, ex-mafia member, etc., Glenn Chappell beat the ever-living CRAP out of me one morning around 5 or 6 in the morning. And, I called 988 about 15 or 30 seconds after MyRedBook.com, Republican felon, ex-mafia member, etc., Glenn Chappell got done beating the ever-living CRP out of me. And I do have a recording of that phone call. So they are not just violent physically, but they are violent SEXUALLY. Not to mention all the put downs that the two of them have engaged in towards me. They've been very emotionally abusive, extremely emotionally abusive. I mean, just like all day, every day, pretty much, for the longest time. So, yeah, I would like to see my cat and using her as a weapon or a tool. That should be illegal. And MyRedBook.com, Republican felon, ex-mafia member, etc., Glenn Chappell made it clear he was never going to pay for food for her or litter for her or anything for her. He did get some things off of Craigslist for her because, I basically let him know that it wasn't cool for him to refuse to allow her to have like a litter box in the house. So he wanted to make himself look good, but he's literally a psychopath and a sociopath. Both of them are psychopaths and sociopaths. And they do what psychopaths and sociopaths do really well. They pretend like they're normal people. And they'll sit there and watch like Animal Planet or Dr. Pimple Popper because they know that I watched Dr. Pimple Popper and Animal Planet. because that's what psychopaths and sociopaths do. Other than that, myredbook.com Republican felon, ex-mafia member, etc., Greg Chappell, all he does, besides commit crime, is watch television from like the 1940s and the 1950s. Because he still thinks that how life was back then is how life should be right now in 2023. Like, anybody that's not white should not exist for him. All women, not even 10 millionth class citizens to him. LGBTQIA, forget about it. They should be gone. That's his world. For me, personally, I think both of them, if they don't end up in prison for the rest of their lives, and in this case, I do endorse them being in prison for the rest of their lives without any possibility of parole. I think they should be living in the most racist town in America, as they call it. On the compound with the most racist man in America. That's where they belong if they're not going to be in prison for the rest of their lives without a possibility of parole. And that's exactly where they should be, in prison without a possibility of parole. No matter how harsh that sounds, or how bad that sounds, or whatever, if you think that way, like, what they have done to me, think about it. If that was, like, if you have morals or scruples, think about it. Think if that was your daughter, your niece, your wife, your sister-in-law, your granddaughter, your great-granddaughter. Anyway, that's where I'm leaving off on this particular episode, if you will.